and we'll do it live. We'll do it live. My last YouTube video that I made got 3 views, 3 whole views. Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes there's some weird stuff that happens with my YouTube channel where I've actually watched it where I've watched it sometimes where I've made a YouTube video and the views will go up and then they'll go back down, and then they'll go up and then they'll go back down, and then they'll go back up and then they'll go back down. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I do know that there's something wrong with my channel. I do know that there's something wrong with my channel where my communication isn't freely moving throughout the internet. But that's okay. That's okay. So the title of this video is I invite you to worship the light. What does that mean? What am I trying to sell you? What am I trying to sell you? Worship the light. What does that mean? What am I trying to sell you? What am I trying to get you to do? Just love the truth, that's all. The truth, whatever the truth is. Whatever the truth is what you should dedicate your mind to. Especially in today's world. Today, we're in a world plagued by chaos. We're in a world plagued by chaos, plagued by evil. We are plagued by evil, plagued by chaos. And the best thing you can do is dedicate your mind to the truth and stay connected to the truth, whatever the truth is. And when I tell people that I worship the truth, they don't know what that means. And they say, but the truth is so subjective. The truth is so subjective. Right. The truth has to do with the mind. That is what that's right. It has to do with the mind. It's subjective. It has to do with your mind, right? You want your mind rooted in the truth. What is the truth? Then they'll go, what is the truth? What truth are you talking about? You said you worship the truth. How do you know what you believe is the truth? Well, because I worship the truth. See, it's almost a trick question. It's almost a trick answer, but it's not. The truth means the truth. I mean, whatever the dictionary definition of the truth is. The truth is what is. The truth is what is true. That is what I worship. I worship what is true. I don't worship the lies. I worship the truth. How do you know what the truth is? I guess is the question. That's the question people are asking. So, interestingly enough, I like to argue with people on Facebook, particularly Muslims and atheists on Facebook. Sometimes I argue with Christians also, because sometimes Christians don't know. Okay, let's put it this way. Some Christians don't know that Christ is, see, they don't know what these terms mean. Here's the thing. When you don't know what the words mean that are being used, then you can get off on a weird kind of idea about what things are. So I think we can all agree that if you think of this word called enlightenment, there's a word called enlightenment, somebody who's enlightened, right? That means they're wise, and that means they have wisdom, which presumes that they know some truth. See, you can't be a wise person if you don't have any truth. Like it's an exact ratio between how true your mind is and how wise you are, or how filled with lies you are, what a liar you are, and how ignorant you are. It's an exact ratio. It's an exact ratio. So now when I watch television, when I watch like cable news, it's filled with people trying to cause wars, trying to get lying about it's like constant lying about good people. Constant lying about good people in order to hurt them. And it's everything. It's MSNBC, it's CNN, it's Fox News, it's ABC, it's CBS, it's PBS, it's NPR. Most people don't realize it, but NPR and PBS in particular are heavy, heavy Republican-funded media. Those are big time Republicans, right? PBS, public broadcasting, right? You think that's left-wing Marxist trash. Okay. Well, it's sponsored almost entirely by Republicans. Okay, I have one like, but no one viewing. It says I don't have anyone viewing. That's why I think there's something wrong with this YouTube stuff. Maybe people are watching this and I can't see them. Okay, now I can see one. Feel free to leave a chat. Anyway, I was saying, when I watch television, it's just a bunch of liars. So where was I talking about? I was talking about the truth. Sorry, got a little distracted. The truth. There is no enlightenment outside of the truth. So when you're watching people on television, right, and they're lying and they're trying to cause wars, and they're lying to cause wars, and they're lying to cause wars that get people killed, right? This is darkness. This is pure darkness. And so we live in a dark age. Like, we live in an age of darkness. We live in a time when all of the communication channels are filled with darkness. In other words, there's no truth in it. They want you to take dangerous drugs. They want you to get involved in wars that get millions of people killed. You know, you look at what's happening in Ukraine, right? They got a bunch of people killed over there. All these Ukrainian people who I love got killed because of the CIA and the people in the media and the people in the European. But what I'm saying is, it's like an age of darkness. And so the opposite of that would be truth. And there is no enlightenment outside of the truth. And that is the basic teaching of Christianity in the four Gospels and in Genesis 1:3, which I love to talk about. I love to talk about that. I love to talk about Genesis 1:3 because John, who wrote the Gospel of John, loved to talk about Genesis 1:3. And that's all you need to know, man. All you need to know is Genesis 1:3. You don't need to know anything else. You really don't need to know anything else because it's all right there. In Genesis 1:3 is that God said, "Let there be light," meaning that there was darkness, and out of this darkness came the truth. And the truth is the light, and the truth is all you need, and the truth is the most important thing. And that's the thing that we should all be focusing on, is the truth. And that's what we're missing in the media. That's what we're missing in the media. And even the media we like. I like to watch Fox once in a while, you know, but a lot of it's pretty bad. A lot of it's pretty bad. Part of the reason it's so bad is it's sponsored by pharmaceutical companies that want to sell you drugs. They want to poison you and they want to kill you. And that's what's so bad about it, is that we have a culture based on they make money by poisoning you and killing you and getting you to do things that are going to end up in your own demise. And so what it's going to take to not have a society like that is it's going to take people like you and me who worship the truth. Who worship the truth. The truth is the light. There is no enlightenment outside of the truth. In other words, if you want to be enlightened, well, that means you have to worship the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes it hurts. Nothing stings more than the truth. Nothing stings more than the truth. You know, sometimes you'll be arguing with someone, like, let's say you're arguing with somebody either in real life or maybe online, right? And so the person says, like, I've argued with people and people have told me, "You're an idiot. You're so dumb. You have a low IQ." That doesn't hurt me. That doesn't hurt me when someone says I'm stupid. You know what I mean? Now, there's some things that maybe they could say that would hurt me that were true, but calling me stupid doesn't hurt me. But the truth does hurt. It can hurt. The truth can hurt, and the truth does hurt. It says here, light meaning truth, dark meaning lack thereof. Christianity is misunderstood at its core. It's meant to be philosophy. Hence, I don't identify with modern Christianity, but rather philosophy as a modus operandi for determining truth. Me too. Now, the interesting thing is what most people today think is Christianity, I wouldn't even call it Christianity. I don't know what it is. But you're right, because Christianity in its original form is philosophy. It's actually more philosophy than it is religion. It's a philosophy that was turned into a religion, but ultimately it's philosophy, and it's a philosophy of the truth, and the truth is the light, and the truth is the king, and the truth is it's the thing. That's the thing that takes you to Theos, God. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. And so anytime someone is the problem is because Christianity is mixed with mythology or allegory, and the allegory is supposed to lead people to the truth, right? If you understand the allegory, then that leads you to the truth. You're like, oh, okay. So someone tells you a story, right? In Christianity, the people who wrote the Bible, who wrote the four Gospels, they wrote a story, which is supposed to tell you about the truth. And the truth is he's born and he argues with the rabbis and they arrest him and they torture him and they kill him. And the truth dies and he's resurrected and all this kind of, but so because it's an allegory, it's supposed to, if you understand the allegory, of course, then you would understand the truth. But a lot of people, they just see the story, and I guess they just I don't know. They think so literally, some people, that they can't see it. Now, the other argument I've had with people is some people they what? Some people think very literally to the point where they can't understand allegory. And so I remember, they think that because you understand the allegory, that you just interpret it that way, and that's just how you think of it. And so the truth is that the stories aren't actually open. They're not open to interpretation, meaning you can't interpret an allegory any way you want. When somebody writes an allegory, an allegory has a hidden meaning in it, and then you're supposed to find that thing that the author wrote into it for you to find, right? It's like a treasure map. So an author writes an allegory, and he's hoping that you find that in there. And so that's the meaning of the story, right? It's not just whatever you want it to mean. It means something. And so that's kind of one of the things I've run into when discussing these topics with different people, is they think, well, that's just your interpretation. No, it's not my interpretation, because I didn't write this. I didn't write Genesis, and I didn't write John, and I didn't write the book of Matthew. Like, I didn't write these books. What I'm saying is I can read, and that's my crime, is that I can read. But I was thinking of a person who was interested in the occult. What was her name? Madame Blavatsky. Interesting person. I don't have anything against her. She was like a person who was interested in finding the truth, right? She wanted to know the truth. And so she traveled to the East in search of the truth, and she went to India, and a lot of her stuff is, I think she was wrong about some stuff, because she went to India thinking that they knew something, or you go to the Middle East thinking they know something. So you get your information from them, assuming they know something. But a lot of times they don't know. They don't know. They just have their own ideas about stuff. She's the one who redefined Semitism, which is the which became the terminology used. Well, I don't know if she's really the one. Actually, it was a German linguist in the 1700s that defined Semitism, or Semites, Semitic languages. Can't remember his name, but anyway, she kind of defined it a certain way too. But she said that there is no religion higher than truth, which is true, but that's actually Christianity. So when Madame Blavatsky said that there is no religion higher than truth, and I bring her up because her philosophy filtered into the Rosicrucian order at some point later. They used a lot of her ideology about Jesus being an Aryan and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. A lot of that stuff's not that important. Too many subscribe to nothing more than mysticism with morals, ? We cannot question. Oh, mysticism we cannot question. Ironically, it is quite wrong to be created in God's image, yet be unable to question his teachings. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, there is a thing that becomes, in fact, what I find is the people that have the lowest understanding are the ones that are most adamant that you agree with them completely. Like you have, like the people that understand it the least are the ones that are the most insistent that you agree. They're the most. They tend to be the most confused, and they're the ones that insist you agree exactly with them. That's from my experience. Is that they're like really insist that you believe what they think, and what they think is usually something completely idiotic. And it's like the more idiotic their ideas are, the more you're demanded to agree with them. And it's just weird. And that's the problem with the modern Christianity. That's why you can't make a church. And this is hurting our civilization. It's really hurting our civilization. Because how do you organize a church when you get these weirdos in there that don't understand anything and have all these strange ideas, and then they insist that this is right, and you're like, no, dude, I'm not going to raise a family with weirdos like you. We can't have any common ground with weird. It's like it ruins the whole thing. It's like the turd in the punch bowl. It's the turd in the punch bowl. What we have to say is that the truth is the most important thing, and that the truth is the light. That the truth is the light. There is no, like Madame Blavatsky said, she was right when she said that there is no religion higher than truth. And that is the teaching actually of the Bible. Believe it or not, she probably didn't know that because I don't think she was a Christian. I don't think she was a Christian. I think maybe she was, whatever she was interested in the occult. She was trying to seek out for truth. She thought she couldn't find it in the Bible, so she went to the East and all this kind of stuff. What I'm saying is there is no enlightenment outside of the truth, and this is from my experience, which is similar to what she said. But when you find people that are involved in religion or want to talk about Christianity or involved in the churches, and you got the pastors and you got people that want to talk about Jesus Christ. So unless they're talking about the truth, like literally the truth, the absolute truth, anything else is not, anything other than the truth is darkness. Anything other than the truth is the darkness. So when we go back to John 1:1-5, and it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And then it goes on to say, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. So there's a light and the darkness. So anything other than the truth is the darkness. And that's the thing that we have. That's the thing that unfortunately a lot of people who are Christians or call themselves Christians haven't really understood yet. They don't realize that it, and I'm speaking from my experience with my own family, who you go, for instance, my mother went to a church where they told her that Jews were God's chosen people, which is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Nothing against Jews if you're Jewish, okay? If you're Jewish, that's good for you. But I mean, we have a problem where we've got the US government and the CIA and Mossad running churches with the Anti-Defamation League to teach people that Jews are the chosen race and all this weird garbage. Okay, none of it's true. So that's not the light. Okay, that's not the light. Now, that makes me think of Freemasonry when I think of this, right? Because the Freemasons were all about the light, right? They said that the light is the thing. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the light is the thing. But then for some reason, somewhere along the line, the Freemasons stopped suggesting that Christ was the light. I don't know. I've never done the degrees of Freemasonry. But I've talked to a Scottish Rite Mason who, unfortunately, we're not friends anymore. And we were never close friends, but I used to associate with some Scottish Rite people just because I showed up at their I just showed up at their office is what happened. I just showed up there, okay? I just showed up there and said hi and started talking to people and find out what they're all about. And I found out from talking to them, they had the motto on, they were nice guys. They were good guys. Like they're guys you want to hang out with. They were guys you like to talk to. Like they were nice guys, right? But do they know that Christ is the light they've got this motto called order out of chaos, which is from Genesis 1:3. Do they know that that's Jesus Christ, or what do they think? Because when I talked to the Scottish Rite guy, he says, he even admitted to me after talking to me at the time, because I hadn't really understood the meaning of Christ at that time. He admitted to me that you couldn't really be a Christian in the sense that we all think of it and be a Freemason. And I understand why, because I've met plenty of Christians that aren't rooted in the truth. So they're not really worshiping the truth, which is what Christ is supposed to be, the truth. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, the deal with that place. But so the reason I brought that up is we've got, okay, well, let's go back in time to the Rothschilds and what was his name? The guy who started the Jehovah's Witnesses, the International Bible Students Association. That was Pastor Charles Taze Russell. Okay, and he if you look at that thing, he was totally backed by the Rothschilds and through Freemasonry, and he talked about Freemasonry. So why would Freemasons be promoting the Rothschilds? Well, I guess it's because they got taken over by the Jesuits. So it's around that time or before that the whole order got destroyed. Okay, so maybe that's just what it is. So maybe it's all got ruined. Okay, so guess what? Where do we start over again with our entire civilization? Well, we start with just this understanding that the light is the truth and the truth is the light, and that's what matters, and that's the important thing. And everything, as a human being, you want to dedicate your mind to the truth, whatever the truth is. Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth hurts. The truth isn't always fun. The truth isn't always pleasant. Sometimes the truth is horrifying. Sometimes the truth is horrifying, and sometimes the truth is heartbreaking. And whatever the truth is, man, that's what you should dedicate your mind to, because the truth is the light. That's it. That's it. Everything else is whatever. So when we think about it in Christian terms, we should say Christ is the truth, meaning the King is the truth, right? The anointed King is the truth. The King is the truth. The truth is the anointed King. That's the thing that we worship. That's the thing that we worship. Of course, we have it. We call it the light. So we have a lot of fun holidays like Christmas and Easter and the Passover. And the Freemasons have St. John's Day. Saints, plural, Saint John's, which is the summer solstice and the winter solstice. Because I asked him, I said, I remember I asked him, I said, because I was very curious about what they were involved with. So I said, do you guys have holidays oriented around the winter solstice or the summer solstice? And he said, no. Well, except for St. John's Day, which just happens to coincide exactly with the winter solstice and the summer solstice. So the answer to my question was yes. Anyway, what I'm talking about, let's look at why do I want to talk about this? Because look, there's so much information, right? There's so much information in the media. Alex Jones is fighting the info wars. Steve Bannon, blah. Glenn Beck, Dan Bongino, Buck Sexton, Clay Travis, The Clay Travis Show, Rush Limbaugh, KABC, Larry Elder, PBS, the Annenberg Foundation, Rockefeller Gates. Once one begins to understand what Christianity is in reality, it gives a much clearer meaning to the scriptures. I think of Adam and Eve and the serpent representing evil temptations. Yeah. So we got all this stuff right in the media, right? There's so much information. There's so many political maneuverings happening, right? There's so much political maneuverings happening. What are the Israelis going to do? What are the Lebanese going to do? What are the Syrians going to do? What is Washington, D.C. going to do? What is Gavin Newsom going to do? And there's all this information. How much of it is rooted in truth? You see? That's the important thing. What's true? The more a civilization drifts away from the truth, the less likely it is to survive. And how well is Western civilization surviving? I would say it's actually doing pretty shitty. I would say Western civilization at this point is a pile of dog shit. Sorry for the bad words, but this is a terminology that's used in people that are interested in investing in whatever. Could be in the only people that I know that are interested in investing buy gold and silver. Okay, there's this term called dog shit. Okay, when you have some, you're trying to you got something you want to sell, and you're like, hey, will you buy these whatever? Okay, it's like it's copper coins. You have like some copper coins that have gold-plated copper coins that you bought from Littleton Coin Company. You overpaid for them. That's called dog shit. You have dog shit. Well, that's kind of where we're at in Western civilization, and that's where a lot of these churches are at. Okay, that's where a lot of these churches, all the churches that are preaching Zionism, all the churches that have LGBT BLM flags, they're dog shit. They're dog shit churches. The pastors are dog shit. Their ideology is dog shit. It's trash. See, what you want is you want the real gold, right? Right? You want the 4 9s. You want the 4 9s. You want 999 pure, 24 karat. That's what you want. That's the truth, right? You don't want the copper with the fucking gold plating. That's dog shit, right? That's what they keep giving us. We don't want that. We want the truth. So the more a civilization drifts away from the truth, the less it survives. And so you've got all these people out here, and literally the only thing I can think of, because I walk around the park and I look at all these people that are homeless, right? And I think, and not just the homeless, but the people that aren't homeless, they're all effed up. And I think, what is it that we can tell these people to do to improve their situation? The thing they need is the truth. They need to abandon all the garbage and just try to stick with the truth. Even if you don't always know what the truth is, just try to stick with the truth. Just try to hold on to, try and go with what's true. If everyone just did that, we'd be so much better off. Just try and go with what's true. Okay. And we're not getting that from the news. I know you flip on Fox News right now, they're like, we're gonna win the war with Russia. F your war with Russia. That doesn't do anything for me. I don't need, and F your war in Syria. We don't need to be going around killing people for Islamic terrorist groups. This is all garbage. So forget about all that stuff. Let's just all, the closer we can get to the truth, that's the thing we should be telling people. You know, people spend 12 years in an elementary school. How many times have they told these children that the truth matters, that that's what's important? They're not going to be told that. It says here, and Eve's affinity for temptation meant to be moderated by Adam's moral compass. In my experience, this becomes obviously parallel to life experiences. Yes, temptation moderated by morality. But we just, you know, if we could just make truth important. And that seems to be what's happening on Twitter, thankfully. And I do think Elon Musk is helping with this situation. Is that the truth has some relative importance now, you know? Whereas before it was like, no, the truth doesn't matter. What matters is that everybody agrees with our agenda, and that way we will enforce our agenda, and that way we will make money with our drug company and our whatever company. And if people don't like it, we'll shut their bank accounts down and kill them. It's like that's where we were headed. That is an ideology of darkness, right? So we have moved in a better direction. The internet's been crazy, man. Like I'm 51 years old, so I've been on the internet now since the 1990s. Not so much in the 90s, more like I remember when it started in the 90s. I was I didn't even have a computer. I wasn't even worried about computers back then. I didn't really get interested in the internet until 2000, after 9/11. A few years after 9/11, I decided to log on the internet, and then the rest is history. But the internet's gone through a lot of different phases. But one of the important things about the internet is it's a way for people to get the truth out that they know, like they know something that's true. They have an opinion that's not being represented in the mainstream media. And people should know, like, hey, you need to know this for your survival. This will help you. That's been an important. See, that's the whole thing about dialogue. Open dialogue allows us all to sift through ideas and find out what's true, and that way we can improve our lives and improve our civilization. So when you have organizations like the Anti-Defamation League that wants to shut everybody up, or other organizations that are about fact-checking everybody and shutting everybody up, that's the darkness. Those are the cults of darkness. They want to shut you up, and I don't need somebody to tell me what's true. I can look at information, and I can look at it myself, and I can find out. I can look at it, and I can determine it for myself. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Guess what? I don't need some piece of shit organization like the ADL or some fact check pervert organization to tell me what to think. So, you know what I mean? I'm an adult. I can think for myself. And frankly, I don't even like those people. I don't even want them around me. I don't want to hear from them. So in my experience, this becomes obviously parallel to my experience. Adam and Eve story. Adam and Eve story is interesting. If you want to read a story very similar, but not the same, read the myth of Adapa. It's called the myth of Adapa, and that is the Babylonian version of Adam and Eve, but it's not Adam and Eve. It's Adapa, who is offered the food of immortality by the Anunnaki gods, and that's another story which is similar to Adam and Eve, but not the same. So it's not the same story. But if you like the Adam and Eve story, I recommend also reading the Myth of Adapa, because it tells a similar story, and it might clarify some of the understanding of that story which we have in Adam and Eve. It's a great story. But the myth of Adapa is about how mankind has the mind of God, but is mortal, the mortality of man. It's an interesting story. Stuck in a very low vibrational state of consciousness due to the negative aspects of internet access. I actually find the internet to be a good. I find the internet to be a good medium of the exchange of ideas. However, it's almost impossible now to research anything on the internet, because all you do is you type something into Google and you get whatever Google has determined you should think. That's the main problem with the internet at this point. Okay, because I'm comparing it to the internet. Okay, the internet in 2005 and 2006 is way different than the internet in 2024, because I could put something into Google in 2006 and get all kinds of things that are now absolutely verboten, because the World Economic Forum and the UN and the Anti-Defamation League and and Washington D.C. and the European Union are all over that. They want to make sure that when you type something into Google, you get what they want you to think, and they get the answers that you want to have. You can't. That's why, like, I'll argue with people sometimes, because I'm very well versed in anthropology and ancient history and ancient historical documents, right? And so I'll give you an example. A lot of the words that you and I use in English are actually, they're Latin. Okay, well, they're like Old German, and they're High German and Low German and Old German, and they're Latin words and they're Greek words, and then that's all we know, right? We just know that we know that when we speak English, we're speaking Germanic and Latin and Greek, and that's all we know, and we don't know anything else. And if you go to a dictionary and you go to the derivations, you get Old German or High German or Low German or Latin or Greek, and it just ends right there, and it just stops right there. Well, that's not where it stops, because a lot of the words that you and I use in English come from the Middle East, and come from Egypt, and come from Iraq, and come from Ur, and come from Sumeria. A lot of the words that you and I are using every single day are ancient words from ancient civilizations that go back 3,000 years. But when you go to Yale, and you go to Harvard, and you go to Stanford, and you go to Berkeley, and whoever produces, and you go to the Oxford Dictionary, and they tell you where these words come from, they come from High German, Low German, and Latin and Greek. And that's it, man. That's it. It just stops right there. But it doesn't stop right there. It doesn't stop right there. It goes to Egypt, and it goes to Canaan, and it goes to Iraq and Syria, and it goes to Sumer, ancient Sumer. So it goes there too. And there's a lot of obvious ones. And you're like, Brian, what the fuck are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? I'm talking about era, like the word era. An era is a period of time. Well, that's an ancient Assyrian word, you know, Ara, Ara. That means the month. And in Hebrew, or not Hebrew, but whatever the language was in the Canaanite Hebrew, whatever you want to call it, that's Yerach. And a year, we have every year, we have a year. Well, that's Yar. That's an ancient Akkadian Canaanite Hebrew word for light. So yeah, a lot of our words come from the Middle East. A lot of our words come from Egypt. But anyway, what are we talking about? Why did I bring that up? I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Oh, why? Why did I say that? Okay, so the important thing is somewhere along the line, our forefathers figured out, okay, here's what we need to know. Our forefathers, thousands of years ago, realized both in Athens and Egypt and Canaan or wherever they came from, right? They figured out that the truth was the thing, that was the thing. And that's the philosophy, is the truth. That's what the Athenians figured out. That's what the Egyptians figured out. That's what the people all over the world figured out. Our forefathers, those were our forefathers. And they tried to make it into a rigid Orthodox religion so that we wouldn't forget that the truth was the important thing. That's the thing we had to hold on to. That was the important thing. And they made it, they wrote it in a way that we wouldn't forget. And we all forgot anyway. And here we are on the verge of nuclear holocaust. On the verge of mass death. There are fucking people dying all over the place. Sorry for the F. There are people being killed all over the place, man. And it's all out of this Washington, D.C., Pentagon, CIA, European Union. They are just exterminating people all over the place, and they are not our friend. They are not our friend. They're not the friend of these other races, and they're not the friend of us either. They're nobody's friend. They're just dark age scum. They are killing people all over the place. They've ruined Western civilization. You want to talk about the white race? They've ruined the white race. The white race is destroyed. They have destroyed the white race. Okay? They've ruined white Western European civilization. It's fucking ruined. They did that. Washington, D.C. did that. That's who did it. Washington, D.C., the Pentagon, the CIA. That's who did it. That's who ruined white Western civilization. Nobody else. It wasn't the blacks that did it. The blacks didn't do this to you. It was George Soros that did this to you. It was the Rothschilds that did this to you. And it was everybody that went along with them. It was the Pope and everybody in the Jesuit, all those people that went along with them. They ruined Europe. They ruined Europe. They ruined London. They ruined New York. They ruined America. They turned it into a giant toilet. They flooded it with drugs. They flooded it with heroin starting in the 1950s, right after the war. Right after the war ended with Germany. Right after the war ended with Germany. They flooded the U.S. with heroin. From Turkey through France. Okay, it was the Turks. What are the Turks doing right now? Oh, they're attacking Syria. It was the Turks who are allied with the Jews, who are allied with the Sicilian mafia that took their drugs and sold them to the Sicilian mafia, who then sold them to the Corsican mafia in France, who then trafficked them to states in the Midwest that then sent them back into New York. They flooded America with heroin. That was just the beginning. First, they flooded America with heroin. Then in the 60s, after discovering LSD, they spread LSD across America. Then they developed all kinds of drugs in their pharmaceutical laboratories like Prozac and all kinds of psychoactive drugs to turn, let's say women, let's just take women, into promiscuous psychopaths. Okay. How evil is that? Do you understand that when a woman takes Prozac, that affects her endocrine system and that affects her hormones and that turns her into a promiscuous person who fucks everybody? So now, how is she supposed to raise a family? How is she supposed to have care for her children? Do you see how evil that is? You see how evil that is? That's what they did. They did it to women. They did it to men. They did it to all of us. And that's why, that is the darkness. They are pure, they are the most evil, satanic pieces of trash in the world. They're based in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, founded by the Jesuit order of the Pope with his Jewish bankers, the Rothschilds. I said it. What do you want me to do? Lie to you? I don't hate everyone who's Jewish. You know, my best friend when I was a little boy was Jewish. His name was Michael King. His name was Michael. Was it Michael King? No, Joey King. That was my other best friend. I think he was Jewish too. I had a best friend named Michael. He's a friend from school. Actually, he wasn't a best friend, but he was a friend from school. He was Jewish, and when he was a little boy, it almost makes me want to cry thinking about it. When he was a little boy, his mother died, and I went to the funeral because he invited me. Man, and I wore the yarmulke and everything. I went there. I wore the yarmulke. And I remember Michael was so sad that his mother was dead. Right? These are just people, dude. They're just people. That's all. But I'm just saying, the mafia that runs Washington, D.C. is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is, and they do what they do, and it's all based on their little ethnic crime organization. That's who they are. It's the Anti-Defamation League. It's the Anti-Defamation League. It's the Jesuit Order. It's the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. It's all of them. But I'm just saying, that's what they did. They ruined our civilization. And so the only thing we can really do, because how do we resurrect life? We want to live, like life is supposed to be fun. Life is supposed to be fun. Life is supposed to be beautiful. People are capable of tremendous amounts of creating things that are beautiful. And so you have to be connected to the truth. You have to be connected to the truth is your connection to God, right? There is no, if you think anything else is going to connect you to God but the truth, what is the whole concept of Christianity? There's only one way to God, and that's Christ, right? Well, if Christ is the truth, then that's true, because there's only one. Because you can't be connected to God and then be a liar. So a lot of people who call themselves Christians, they look at them and I think you don't even know what you're totally disconnected from the truth, right? The only way you can really be connected to God is through the truth. So all I'm saying is we have the way to turn this around isn't super complicated. There's not a lot of different things we have to know. There's not a lot of different things we have to do. The primary thing is just having your mind dedicated to what is true and living a life based on what is true, right? That's what ends all the bullshit, right? That's what ends it all. That's what ends all the garbage. Is just dedicating your mind to the truth, which is that's Christ, meaning the King. See, that is the king. That is that there's nothing above that. There's nothing above the truth. So no matter, so anyway, I guess I should end the stream because I'm just repeating myself. But it's nice talking to you. Thank you for participating. I really enjoy it when people participate. I like to know what other people think. I don't want to be here like I'm the guy, I'm the only one that knows anything. No, you know stuff, other people, right. Matthew 23:8. Christ is our teacher and we are all brethren. The truth is our teacher and we are all brothers and sisters. So it's the truth that guides us. So thank you for participating and have a good night.